this was a major breakthrough for the state of New York.
New legislation from Albany, sponsored by New York State Assemblywoman Amy Pollin, seen here, and New York State Senator Andrew Lanza, promises stepped-up protection for children who are victims of human or sex trafficking. Reverend Q. English, who is the founder and CEO of Not On My Watch, a coalition of close to 200 groups citywide working together to end trafficking, traveled to Albany to rally state leaders to support A6823B, also known as the End Child Sex Trafficking Act.
A child no longer has to prove coercion before a prosecutor can effectively prosecute a pimp and/or the buyer of sex.
We need to fight for our children, and I want to thank the Assembly and the Senate, especially, the Speaker of the House, Carl Heastie.
Recognizing Speaker of the Assembly Carl Heastie for his work in keeping the bill front and center, this mother who did not want to be identified to protect her daughter says her story is one of the reasons the legislation is so critical in the fight.
My daughter, when she was 12 years old, she was in middle school. This was back in 2007. She was recruited by her classmate. And the classmate was also the sex trafficker's daughter.
Because of the ages of the victims, very few testify against the traffickers.
How do you expect a 12-year-old to do that? So what has happened in the past, we find a lot of parents not bringing their child in front of the trafficker.
If the governor signs the bill into law, a child will no longer be required to testify. In January last year, BronxNet Television brought you the screening of a documentary called Very Young Girls, directed by David Shishgal and Nina Alvarez, and hosted by Giselle Bria, that outlined the problem and the work of those who stage interventions. Also there, New York City Public Advocate Letitia James, who announced a rise in the number of cases in North Brooklyn and the Bronx. Because so many go unreported, Reverend English is requesting the mayor establish an office to combat child sex trafficking. A6823B has not been signed into law yet, but Reverend English and a few others we spoke to off the record are confident it will happen shortly. For BronxNet, this is Arlene Makoko.